Good afternoon. My name is Caroline Reid. I work for Newcastle Gateshead Initiative, which is the destination marketing organisation for Newcastle upon Tyne, Gateshead and the wider region. I specifically work in the Convention Bureau team, which is here to support all organisers looking to host a business event, conference, dinner, tour, accommodation group, incentive group into the region. And again, we offer free and impartial advice. We like to think we're the local experts, so we can provide sort of knowledge about maybe those new venues or maybe those sort of less well-known venues or new openings as well as obviously helping you to place in more established venues. That haven't been lucky enough to come to Newcastle upon Tyne, you probably have heard of Newcastle, but maybe not so much Gateshead. Newcastle is the city which sits to the north of the River Tyne, and Gateshead is the town that sits to the south of the River Tyne. And we come together to promote both areas, as they've got fantastic facilities and infrastructure on both sides of the water, and they're only separated by 7 bridges across the river, so it's very easy to get to both. Newcastle and Gateshead are renowned. We have over 2,000 years of history, and we have fantastic Georgian architect throughout the city, as well as spreading out into our sort of wider regions. Historically, we were known for shipbuilding. We had sort of a lot of manufacturing and industrial parks related to that industry, as well as mining. And we were had a huge coal mining sort of pit village sector, and we still have that today, as well as moving forward. We started to see us move into specialising in tech and digital, health and life sciences, business and professional services, advanced manufacturing, as well as the wind and offshore market. So we are quite an established and diverse destination. We have 2 universities in Newcastle, Newcastle University and Northumbria University, that equally have their own research strengths across a range of different areas. We have 4 centres of excellence, a couple of them including the National Innovation Centre for Ageing, National Innovation Centre for Data and Energy. Therefore, as a region, we cover a lot of different sectors. Moving to more of the delegate experience or group experiences, we're renowned for our passion for sport. We've been very lucky that we've hosted a range of major events, including Olympics and Rugby World Cup. And this year, we're very fortunate to be the opening destination and ceremony for the Rugby League World Cup. So that'll be very exciting. We also host a range of annual events, including the Great North Run, which is a half marathon for 52,000 people. Which goes from Newcastle to South Shields along the coast. Therefore, we have got sort of quite a renowned location of sport. And top with that, most recently in the news, we have Newcastle United Football Club, which sits in the heart of the city. So it's great from a delegate experience point of view. You can do stadium tours, but also if you want to use it for conferencing, it's got fantastic space. I should also say, locally, we're known as Geordies. So if you ever hear someone being referred to as a Geordie, they're from Newcastle. And I don't have a Geordie accent, but you may find that they have sort of a slightly stronger and use a lot of local words, which I think gives us a great identity. The city itself, not a lot of people know we have an international airport 15 minutes from the city centre, which connects to over 70 direct destinations. As well, on top of that, we have a lot of seasonal flights. We have 6 flights a day from London Heathrow. We have Aberdeen, Bristol, Southampton, but more internationally and European, we have a daily flight from Dubai with Emirates. We connect through Amsterdam and Schiphol, Paris Charles de Gaulle, and actually we've got a new route from Frankfurt with Lufthansa, which is exciting. So we really are well connected. And once you arrive at the airport, the most sustainable way to get into the city is to take our metro network, which is a direct line into the city centre and takes 25 minutes. If you're travelling from within the UK, we have Newcastle Central Station, which is in the heart of the city. We have over 200 trains arriving into Newcastle from across across the country. Over 40 of these come direct from London's King's Cross in under 3 hours. So it's a fantastic quick route up the East Coast. And for those that are connecting from Europe through the Eurostar, they can come into St Pancras in London, walk the short distance to King's Cross, and then take the train up to London. So very easy to get to. We also find that sometimes people might fly in to Edinburgh, and then we're 90-minute transfer from Edinburgh as well, if you want to go sort of north to south. We have so many experiences that I could talk about. However, I thought I would pick up some of my favourites and the ones that I think delegates would enjoy as individuals, as groups, as corporate groups. We really have got a diverse range. Our city centre is a 15-minute destination, so you can reach anywhere in sort of north, south, east and west within 15 minutes, making it a great sustainable destination. However, we do have a fantastic network of local buses if that option was preferable, and the metro system, which I've already mentioned, taking in the key central points, as well as actually going out to the beautiful North Sea coast in under 25 minutes. So you can capture all the beautiful white sandy beaches, have fish and chips on the sea, or go to one of my favourite restaurants, Riley's Fish Shack, which is a beautiful shack in one of the coves, and you can sit in deck chairs eating your lobster or your fish and chips. In the winter, they have lovely sort of fire pits, and in the summer, they provide parasols for guests. It really is fantastic. We obviously offer anything from bowling, axe throwing, city tours, but some of the ones that I particularly enjoy is AAA food tours, where you can take in a culinary experience of 5 to 6 local restaurants and really get a feel for what is on offer. One of my favourite restaurants is Blackfriars. It's a 13th century friary that has been converted into a restaurant. It also has a wonderful banqueting hall that can seat up to 50 people in a private setting. All the food is sourced locally, and they can actually do medieval banquets for your guests if you would like to take that. If you're looking for something a bit more active, we have kayaking up the River Tyne. You can get into the kayak at the side of the water and paddle up under all 7 bridges, taking in all the fantastic landscape of Newcastle and Gateshead from the water. You can even add an experience of where you cook off the land as part of your kayaking experience. So really there is a wide variety to choose from. We have a range of museums, cultural and heritage venues. We have the Baltic Centre for Contemporary Art. We have the Discovery Museum, which tells the story of Newcastle and Gateshead through the years. You can have drinks around the Turbinia ship, which is one of the first powered steam boats in the UK. I particularly like the Victoria Tunnels, which is shown here on the left-hand side. You can go underground and it tells you the story of the tunnel as an air raid war shelter, and then on the return leg it'll tell you about it being a wagonway. Again, you can add extra activity by having a tipple in the tunnel. We work with Hotel du Vin. You can have sort of gin, whiskey tastings, or at the tunnel or in the hotel, which is next door. If you fancy going a little bit further, we have Alnwick Castle. For all those Harry Potter fans, it is Hogwarts Castle in the first 2 films. So if you're young at heart and you fancy something a bit different, you can actually have a go at broomstick training, which I have done and is absolutely fantastic and suits all ages and abilities. But moreover, in its own right, it's the 2nd largest inhabited castle out with Windsor. Therefore, it's fantastic to take advantage of the state room tours or just really to soak in the atmosphere. They also have private dining available at the castle, which can be arranged. Connected to this attraction is Alnwick Gardens, a fantastic garden, rose garden. It's got a poison garden where you can go and learn about poisonous and illegal plants in the UK. But it also has a treehouse restaurant, which is fantastic. In the winter, they have roaring fires. It's all locally produced food. And you can actually, for all those young at heart, go out into the tree house itself and have a go on all the wobbly bridges. They also have a couple of smaller wooden sort of meeting and dining areas as well for those smaller groups. Again, just 20 minutes from the city centre of Newcastle is Beamish Museum. It's a fantastic open-air museum that tells the story of our region in the 1920s and now up to the 1940s as they've just opened a new village. Transport yourself back fish and chips made in the old-fashioned manner. You can go back to school writing on chalkboards. You can take transport round, whether that's an old-fashioned bus or tram. It is marvellous, and you can even go and buy bakery products, sweets, and have a drink in an old-fashioned 1900s pub. And it really is available for all ages, and can actually, the town itself can be hired out for private events. Moving again back into the city centre, we have two very popular attractions. Newcastle Castle, which is where we get our name from. It's a lovely attraction for visitors to go in, and they can see how prisoners were kept back in the olden days. But it's great because on the roof, in a lovely summer's evening, you can have drinks, and you have the most panoramic views overlooking the river and the landscape of Newcastle. So it's absolutely fantastic. One other attraction which we actually hold the keys to, you can't get in without us opening the door at the bottom, is the Grey's Monument. It's named after Charles Grey, and the myth goes that Earl Grey tea was actually established in Newcastle when Charles Grey was Prime Minister. If you climb the 164 steps to the top, there's a small viewing platform, and again, gives you wonderful views of the landscape, and on a clear, crisp day, you can see for miles. A couple of other options which I haven't mentioned is we have two UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Durham Castle and Cathedral, and Hadrian's Wall. They are both about a 30-minute transfer from the region, and again, the Hadrian's Wall, you can get out and about walking on the wall, or you could go and visit the Roman fort and tie that in with a lovely meal in a local pub. There really is a lot to be take place and happening in and around our city and further region. Coming back into the city centre, like most major cities, we have over 9,000 hotel bedrooms within 8 miles of the city centre. They include major brands, IHG, Crown Plazas, Hilton, Jewries, but we also have some fantastic independent venues, the Vermont, which actually overlooks Newcastle Castle, and we have hotel, sort of boutique hotels in the city centre as well. And the map there just shows you sort of where all they are located and how easy they are to get around and how close they are to Newcastle city centre. We obviously have a range of fantastic conference and events venues. A couple that I wanted to highlight today, the top left picture is the Sage Gateshead. This is a music and education centre and home to the Royal Northern Symphonia Orchestra. You can imagine the acoustics are absolutely phenomenal in all the rooms. The picture shows the atrium area with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. Therefore, when your delegates or your group are standing on the concourse, they'll absolutely know they're in Newcastle and Gateshead. The rooms are mainly tiered and have all the amazing AV and audiovisual equipment you can imagine from a first-class venue. The bottom left is the boiler shop. This is where the first locomotive steam train was built and now has been converted into an events and conference space. It's got that very much rustic, open brick, industrial feel to it. It's absolutely fantastic for any dinners and conferences. We also have two sister properties at Wylam Brewery and By the River Brew. By the River Brew is more of a street food market, which you can hire privately. And they have lots of different vendors, both locally and national chains, selling food in there. And it's absolutely fantastic as it's on the banks of the River Tyne under the Tyne Bridge, which, if you have a look at that, is a mini replica of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Their sister property, the Wylam Brewery, is a Grade 2 listed building and can do up to 200 for dinner, and also has a microbrewery on site if you'd like to have a brewery tour or maybe even sample some of the beers produced on site as a bolt-on to your event. How we can help? We're here to help answer any questions. We're a free service here to help with finding venues, accommodation, tours, attractions, local suppliers. We're also very fortunate that Invest Newcastle sit within our organisation. Therefore, we can connect you into both universities, Newcastle and Northumbria University, but they also deal a lot with the corporate market. and Newcastle, Gateshead Council, as well as North of Tyne combined authority. Therefore, we can help you to network and link up with contacts if you should need any support in those areas. I've put my contact details at the bottom. Please do get in touch if there's anything we can help with, or if you'd like a little bit more information. Thank you very much.